What would you do if a wild lioness walked straight up to you carrying her dying baby? Would you run? Would you freeze? Would you even survive? This girl had seconds to decide. And what happened next will leave you speechless. Picture this. You're sitting outside on a peaceful afternoon. The sun is warm on your skin. Everything feels normal. And then you hear it. Footsteps. Heavy. Deliberate. Getting closer. You turn your head and your blood runs cold. Because walking toward you, out of nowhere, is a lioness. A real, full-grown, wild lioness. And she's coming straight at you. That's exactly what happened to this girl. No warning. No time to think. Just pure, raw terror flooding every nerve in her body. Her brain screamed at her to run, to hide, to do anything. But her legs wouldn't move. She was frozen. Trapped in a nightmare that was absolutely real. But here's where it gets unbelievable. This lioness wasn't charging. She wasn't roaring. She wasn't showing her teeth or preparing to attack. She was walking slowly, carefully, like every step hurt her soul. And clenched gently between her powerful jaws was something small and fragile. Her baby. The girl's heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. Every instinct told her this was it. This was how her story ended. But something made her look closer. And what she saw changed everything. The lioness stopped just a few feet away. Close enough that the girl could see every detail. The dust on her fur. The exhaustion in her eyes. The way her massive body trembled slightly. And then, with a tenderness that seemed impossible for such a powerful predator, she lowered her cub to the ground. The little one barely moved. Something was terribly wrong. You could see it immediately. The cub's breathing was shallow and labored. One of its tiny paws was injured, maybe broken. Its eyes opened and closed weakly, like staying conscious was a battle it was losing. And then the lioness did something that nobody could have predicted. She looked up, straight into the girl's eyes. And in that moment, everything changed. Because those weren't the eyes of a killer. Those were the eyes of a mother watching her child die. Those were the eyes of someone who had run out of options. Who had nowhere else to turn. Who was begging, pleading, for help from the only creature who might be able to save her baby. Think about that for a second. This apex predator, this queen of the wild, had somehow understood that humans could help. She had carried her dying cub to the one place she never should have gone. To us. And she was trusting a human with the thing she loved most in the world. The girl felt her breath catch in her throat. She was staring at one of the most dangerous animals on the planet. One swipe of those claws could end her life in seconds. But right now, in this impossible moment, she didn't see a monster. She saw a mom. Desperate. Broken. Terrified of losing her child. And something deep inside her shifted. The cub made a small, weak sound. It was trying to move but couldn't. The injury was bad. Really bad. And time was running out fast. The lioness nudged her baby gently with her nose, then looked back at the girl. Waiting. Hoping. Trusting. What would you do? Seriously, stop and think about it. You're face to face with a wild animal that could kill you without even trying. But that animal is also a mother watching her baby suffer. Could you turn away? Could you just save yourself and live with that for the rest of your life? This girl made her choice. Her hand was shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. But she grabbed it anyway. She couldn't take her eyes off the lioness. If she broke that connection, if she made one wrong move, everything could go sideways in a heartbeat. The lioness was calm now, but she was still wild. Still dangerous. Still capable of anything if she felt threatened. The girl's fingers fumbled over the screen. She dialed emergency services. Each ring felt like an eternity. Finally, someone answered. And she tried to explain what was happening, but how do you even put this into words? There's a lioness here. With her cub. It's hurt. I need help. Please. You have to come now. The person on the other end went silent. They probably thought it was a prank. Some kind of joke. But there was something in her voice, something raw and real and terrified, that made them believe. They said police and wildlife rescue were on their way. That she should stay calm. Don't move. Don't provoke the animal. Stay calm. As if that was even possible. She hung up and looked back at the lioness. The animal hadn't moved an inch. She was still there, still waiting, still trusting. Like she somehow knew help was coming. Like she understood that this human girl was her baby's only chance. The cub whimpered again. Such a small, fragile sound from something that would one day grow into a powerful predator. But right now it was just a baby. Needing its mom. And its mom was doing the only thing she could. She was asking for help. Minutes crawled by. Each one felt like forever. The girl didn't dare move closer. The lioness didn't back away. They stayed like that, locked in this impossible standoff. Two different species connected by something bigger than fear or instinct. Connected by the life of a tiny creature fighting for every breath. And if you're watching this right now, if this story is grabbing you the way it's grabbing me, I need you to do something. Hit that like button. Because stories like this need to be shared. They need to be seen. They need to remind us what really matters in this crazy world. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This channel is all about real stories of hope, courage, and the incredible things that happen when compassion wins. Click that subscribe button. You won't regret it. Then she heard it. Sirens. Getting louder. Getting closer. Help was almost here. The lioness turned her head toward the sound, but she didn't run. That's the thing that still blows my mind. Any normal wild animal would have bolted. Would have grabbed her cub and disappeared into the wilderness. But not this mother. She stood her ground. She waited for the humans to arrive. Because she had already made her choice. She was going to trust them. The vehicles pulled up. Firefighters got out slowly, carefully. Police officers stood ready but didn't draw weapons. Everyone understood immediately. This wasn't a normal situation. This was something else. Something sacred, almost. A wildlife veterinarian arrived minutes later, and he just stood there for a moment, staring. In 20 years of working with animals, he'd never seen anything like this. They approached with extreme caution, moving in slow motion, speaking in soft, calm voices. The lioness watched every movement. Her muscles were tense. She was ready to fight if she needed to, but she let them get close. She let these strange humans approach her most precious thing. The ultimate act of trust. The vet knelt down beside the cub. His experienced hands moved gently over the small body, checking for injuries. The wound was serious. The cub had lost blood. It was dehydrated, but it was still alive. Still fighting. There was hope. They just needed to act fast. He prepared a small transport carrier and carefully, so carefully, lifted the tiny lion. The lioness took a step forward. Just one. Like she was asking where they were taking her baby. The vet looked at her and spoke, even though she couldn't understand the words. "It's okay. We're going to help him. Trust us." And somehow, impossibly, she seemed to understand the intention behind the words. She stopped. And she let them take her cub. They loaded the little one into the vehicle. The girl climbed in too. There was no way she was staying behind after everything. She needed to see this through. She needed to know this baby would make it. And as the vehicle started to drive away, she looked back through the window. The lioness was still standing there, watching, not moving, not making a sound, just watching as they took away her hope. At the veterinary clinic, everything moved fast but carefully. They cleaned the wound, administered antibiotics, set up in 4 for fluids. Every procedure was critical. The cub was a fighter. You could see it. Slowly, gradually, its eyes started opening wider. Its breathing became steadier. The weak sounds it made got a little stronger. Outside the clinic, something incredible was happening. The lioness had followed them. She tracked the vehicle all the way there, keeping a safe distance but never losing sight of where her baby went. Now she was pacing back and forth outside the building, waiting, just like any mother would wait in a hospital. Except this mother happened to be a wild predator. The authorities didn't know what to do. They couldn't let her inside, obviously. But they also didn't want to scare her away or use force. So they made a decision. When the cub was stable enough, they'd bring him outside. This mother deserved to see that her baby was okay. She'd earned that much. Hours passed. The medical team worked tirelessly. Finally, The vet came out carrying the cub, now wrapped in a soft blanket. The wound was bandaged. The little one had received every treatment it needed. Now it just needed time to heal. They carried him toward where the lioness waited. She moved toward them immediately. Not aggressive, just urgent, desperate to reach her baby. Her nose touched the cub gently, sniffing, checking, making sure it was really him, making sure he was really alive. The cub made a small sound in response. Weak but present. Mom was here. Everything would be okay now. And then the lioness did something that made everyone there lose it. She lifted her head and looked directly at the girl. That brave kid who didn't run, who chose compassion over fear, who made the call that saved a life. Their eyes met one more time. And in that look, without words, without sound, an entire conversation happened. Thank you. That's what those eyes said. Thank you for not running away. Thank you for seeing past the fear. Thank you for understanding that a mother's love has no species. Thank you for giving me back my reason for living. The girl felt tears streaming down her face. Not from fear. Not from sadness. From something so much bigger than that. From being part of something impossible. From building a bridge between two worlds that usually only know fear of each other. Can we just stop for a moment and appreciate what this girl did? She's not a superhero. She's not a trained professional. She's just a regular person who was faced with the most terrifying situation imaginable and chose to help anyway. She chose to see a mother instead of a monster. She chose love over survival instinct. And because of that choice, a life was saved. The lioness lowered her head, gently picked up her cub in her mouth, and started walking. Slow, careful, protecting that precious cargo. She headed back toward the wilderness she came from. Nobody stopped her. Everyone knew it was time to let her go. The cub would need monitoring, but nature has its own ways of healing. She walked away without looking back. Mother and child disappeared into the trees. And everyone who witnessed that moment just stood there in silence. Some were crying. Some were smiling. All of them knew they'd seen something extraordinary. Something that would stay with them forever. The girl stood there long after the lioness was gone, staring at the place where she'd vanished. Her life would never be the same after this. She'd learned something that no classroom could ever teach. That a mother's love transcends everything. That compassion can conquer fear. That sometimes the scariest moments show us who we really are. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And she still thought about those eyes. That look of desperation. That impossible trust. Sometimes at night she'd look toward the forest and wonder if the cub had fully healed. If the lioness remembered the human girl who didn't have the heart to turn away. Maybe she'd never know. Maybe that encounter was once in a lifetime. But what she did know, what we can all know, is that kindness matters. That reaching out even when you're terrified can change everything. That every life is worth saving. Here's what I want you to understand. This story isn't just about a girl and a lioness. It's about all of us. It's about the choices we make when nobody's watching. It's about the moments when we can either turn away or step up. And it's proof that the smallest act of courage can ripple out and touch thousands of people. Because right now you're here. You watched this story. You felt something. And that feeling, that connection, that's what makes us human. Not our strength. Not our intelligence. Our ability to care about suffering even when it's not our own. Our capacity to help even when it's dangerous. Our choice to see another being in pain and say, "Not on my watch." Before this video ends, I want to ask you something. Drop a comment below and tell me what you would have done in that situation. Be honest. Would you have run? Would you have called for help like this girl did? Or would you have tried something else? I genuinely want to know because these conversations matter. They make us think. They prepare us for our own moments of truth. And listen, if this story moved you, if it made you feel something real, then subscribe to this channel right now. Because we're building something special here. A community of people who believe that compassion isn't weakness. That caring about others, human or animal, is what makes life worth living. We share stories that restore your faith in humanity. That make you believe in miracles. That show you love always finds a way. Share this video with someone who needs to see it. Someone who's lost faith in goodness. Someone who thinks the world is too cruel to care about. Show them this girl. Show them this lioness. Show them that impossible moments of beauty still happen every single day. This is a story about an impossible encounter, about a desperate mother, about a brave girl, about a cub that fought to live, and about all of us who choose to believe the world can be better. Because at the end of the day, that's what defines us. Not our ability to destroy, not our place at the top of the food chain, but our capacity to feel compassion for a mother in pain, to see beyond differences, to extend a hand when everything tells us to run away. The lioness and her cub went back to the wild. The girl went back to her life. But neither of them was the same after that day. And maybe that's the most important lesson of all. That genuine moments of kindness transform us, make us better, remind us why we're here. So next time you're scared, next time you see suffering and don't know whether to act, remember this story. Remember that girl who looked into the eyes of a predator and saw a mother. Remember that she chose love over fear. And remember that you have that same choice. Every single day. Your moment might come someday. Your chance to be the hero in someone else's story. To save a life. To prove that compassion is the universal language we all understand. Will you be ready? Will you choose courage over comfort? Because this isn't just entertainment. This is a reminder. A wake-up call. A mirror showing us who we can be when it really matters. That girl didn't plan to be a hero that day. She didn't wake up expecting to make a life or death decision. But when the moment came, she was ready. Not because she was fearless, but because she was human. Because she had a heart. Because she understood that turning away from suffering is a choice. And she chose differently. And now you know her story. Now you've felt what she felt. Now you understand what's possible when we refuse to let fear win. So what are you going to do with that? How will this story change you? Because that's the real question. We can watch. We can feel. We can cry. But then we have to carry this forward. We have to be different because of what we've learned. The next time you see an animal in pain, will you help? The next time someone needs you and it's scary or inconvenient, will you step up? The next time the world asks you to choose between fear and love, what will you choose? This girl made her choice. And because of that choice, a mother got her baby back. A life was saved. And thousands of people got reminded that miracles still happen. That goodness still exists. That one person really can make a difference. Thank you for being here. For listening. For feeling. For being part of this community that believes in better. I'll see you in the next video. And remember always, every life deserves to be saved. Every act of kindness matters. And you have the power to be someone's miracle. Don't forget to like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. And share this everywhere. Because the world needs more stories like this. More proof that humanity is still worth believing in. This is the story of the lioness who begged for help. And the girl who answered.